In this episode, Shine Muskets.
Shining with KimchiRednecks is making Shine with Shine Muscat.
Shine Muscat Shine.
Now, for those of you who are not familiar with a Shine Muscat, because honestly, I don't think I ever had them until I came to Korea.
I mean,
So I don't know if that's like the Korea thing, but the closest thing I can think of is maybe a muscadine or a scuppernog.
Schnupperlog?
Scuppernog.
I think it depends on where you're from, is how it's pronounced.
Or if it's pronounced correctly.
Well, I've always heard it pronounced Schnupperlog, so.
Well, seeing as it's spelled Scuppernog, it's scuppernog.
Yeah, well, people where I'm from say strawberry too, so.
Yeah, there you go. And there's our lesson for spelling today.
Anyway, so let me explain to you that here in Korea, there is a portion of the year where a bag of one thing of grapes like this will go for 15 to 18 or more thousand won, which is 12 to 15 bucks for this handful of grapes.
And especially if you're trying to get them, because I bought some during...
Like in peak season?
I bought some during Chuseok.
Yeah, Chuseok.
Which is Korean Thanksgiving.
So that's a big gift-giving season.
And
so
a harvest holiday, so you typically give fruits or veg or something like
fruit,
that for. So you'll buy like a box of this, and they'll wrap it in this really pretty cloth, and you hand deliver it, and
it's a thing.
It's a thing.
But
today
we were at the little local
Korean market.
And just walking by and noticed that they had a stack of boxes of these, 2 kilograms, 4 bags of grapes, 2 kilograms, 4.4 pounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 8 kilograms. We actually got 16 pounds. We got more than I thought we did. But these 2 kilogram boxes of grapes were on sale for, what was it?
7,900 won.
Just shy of 8,000 won, which is about $6-7 bucks.
So I nudged him just a little bit with like, well, I don't think we're going to find them cheaper.
It's literally...
How many do you want?
It is literally the best price I have ever seen on grapes in Korea.
And they're beautiful. I mean, okay, let's taste test it.
Yeah.
I cut them in half because I'm looking to see, do they have seeds? And
that's good to know.
So far, 2 of them I haven't gotten seeds.
Have you taken pictures of these yet so we can throw it up, how good these look up close? There we go. So we will throw that up on the screen. Y'all can see the beauteousness of these grapes.
And the flavor is just outstanding.
It's more than a white grape, not quite a schnupperlog. Scuppernog.
Not quite a muscadine either.
It's a nice middle ground in between them.
So
it's a little tangy without being acidic, sweet without being sticky.
Honestly, this is actually another one of those, like the watermelon, where, check over here for the watermelon. We never thought we would make this here in Korea because we didn't think we'd ever find, especially the Shine Muscat, cheap enough to be able to buy it in a little bit more of a bulk to be able to even experiment with it. So we're kind of like excited and like nervous because we didn't ever think we were doing this.
Yeah, like I said, normally when you see these and they're in season, these are $15 a bag. This would normally be like $150 worth of grapes.
And you can occasionally find them cheaper if you're shopping at the traditional markets, but normally if you're in like the regular like grocery marts, you're not finding them that much cheaper. So this was kind of a surprise for us, and we're super excited. And there was a shout out, even though we don't know her name, we've never met her before, but this wonderful Korean woman came over and she worked there and she knew we were buying that, and she went through all these boxes to find the best ones.
She started shuffling them around and was like, oh, here's a good one. Here you go.
Yeah, and then she gave him one and she's like, okay. And he was like, 4. And she was like, oh. So she started shuffling more and she gave us the 4 prettiest boxes that she could find. So
shout out to
you're
her.
amazing. If we can find you again, we'll bring you some alcohol.
So, unfortunately, the first thing we're going to do with this, we're not going to go the grappa route. We're going to, because there's not a whole lot of stems in here to begin with, because there's just 1 per bag. We're going to peel these off the stem.
Rinse them
off.
And freeze them. And freeze them.
Oh, I thought you said and pit them for some reason.
No, I'm pretty sure they don't have pits.
We're going to put them in bags and we're going to put them in the freezer and freeze them real good.
Okay, so question, Chuck. Why would we freeze them?
Because freezing things anything with water content in it, water expands when it freezes, so it ruptures the inside of the cell membranes and basically makes it easier to get the juice out. So when you de-thaw it, slap a little pectin on it, run it through the food processor, not necessarily in that order, it will break down a lot easier and you'll get more of the juice and the sugar out of it.
And then, rather than just using plain water, because I always want to get the most amount of flavor as we possibly can, we have purchased Shine Muscat juice, 100% Shine Muscat juice, to use to help, like, as they're breaking down and they're building.
Basically, to use that as our base instead of just water, we're going to get Shine Muscat juice. Then we're going to grind up our Shine Muscats into our Shine Muscat juice. And then, if needed, because we'll have to check the starting gravity on that, if needed, we'll dissolve a little sugar in a little bit of water and top it off.
If it needs it.
If it needs it.
But we're super excited, so we're gonna spend some time here getting all of these off the stems, getting them rinsed, and getting them bagged up to go in the freezer. And the next time you see us, we will have them thawed and maybe processed.
Okay, so like we said, we've destemmed them, we've rinsed them, and
that's a lot of grapes.
That's a lot of grapes.
Now we bag them.
A day or two ago, down in the little bucket there, we put in our frapped
Muscat, Shine Muscat.
Yes, Shine Muscat, our grapes. So we ran those through the frapper. We figured you guys knew what running something through a food processor looked like, so we weren't going to bore you with it. Blended all those up, threw them in the bucket. I added a little bit of our Shine Muscat juice that I've got in the box over there. Just enough to get it liquidy, and put the Camden tablets in it. So they've been sitting for about a day and a half. So they should be all good and killed all the wild stuff in there.
And why did it have to sit so long, Chuck?
Because it's been a hell of a weekend, or a couple of days.
What happened this weekend?
Thanksgiving holiday, basically. So Saturday, our time here, after Thanksgiving, Melissa decided that she was viciously opposed to having to use the stairs and decided to attack them with her knee.
Yes, while the elevator was out in our building for the weekend. And that was fun.
So I've been playing doctor with her and bandaging her knee up. And Monday, Minion had to go in to have a little thing removed off her ear. So
little thing, the tumor we call Bob.
Yes.
Yes. Bob is gone now.
Apparently bigger than we thought it was.
He was much bigger.
But it is gone now, and
she misses him.
Minion is quite upset with us.
Yes.
She's not real fond of the whole situation.
No.
But, so that got put on the back burner for a day or so.
But now we're back. Yay.
So,
thank you, Chuck, for taking such good care of all your girls. He hates us.
working me to death, people. Anyway, so now I got 2 liters of water heating up and 2 kilograms of sugar, or 4.4 pounds. And this part is relatively simple. I'm going to melt some sugar into some water, bring it up to a light boil, and then I'm going to put a little citric acid in it, and we're going to make inverted sugar. Because inverted sugar is broken down into the simpler compounds, so it should make it easier for the yeast to eat and not smell like fart.
Thank God. I hate it when it smells like fart.
Right. So, I don't think anybody wants to watch me stir sugar, so we'll be right back. All right. Did you ever wonder what blended up Shine Muscat grapes look like? There you go. Looks like supersized pea soup. So, first thing we're going to do, get a good stir on that, get some air into it. Some oxygenation. So, next thing that's in my bevy of stuff for brandies is oyster shells. I got them in a nice little baggie so they don't get all over the place, but these will keep your acidity level in check, keep it from getting too low. That's important. Because the next thing we're going to add is acid blend. I don't know why, but everything I've read says you're supposed to add this to brandies and wines.
So we're going to trip on some acid?
Yep. So we're going to toss in a couple teaspoons of that. I think my number was 3. I'm not sure, but I'm going with it. Now, because we're working with fruit, we've got pectic enzyme. This I'm also going to do about 3 tablespoons.
Is that tablespoons or teaspoons?
Teaspoons? Yeah, teaspoons.
You're using teaspoons. Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure we got the right terms there.
Teaspoon, tablespoon. It's not like we're baking here.
It still makes a difference.
Obviously sanitized bucket and all that. And a little bit of ferment, yeast nutrient. Technically, we shouldn't need that much of this because we got grapes in here, and a lot of recipes say to use raisins as a yeast nutrient. Raisins are just dried up grapes. I learned that in my schooling days.
From South Kakalaki?
From South Kakalaki. And then, got my inverted sugar. I'm going to pour that goodness in.
Just don't let it splash my feet.
Give that another good stir, make sure all the stuff is mixed up.
You did forget to mention that Mayhem has already been over here and sniffed around the bucket to quality control everything around the bucket.
Yes, Mayhem is our quality assurance doggy. Unfortunately, grapes are highly poisonous to dogs, so she can't taste this.
But she smelled of it and said, mm-mm.
And then, as I mentioned before, we have this nice 100% Shine Muscat juice. Muscat, that's what I'm going to call it.
Okay. You must scat that in there then.
Right. So this is, if I remember correctly, a 45-liter bucket, which if my quick mental math is about 11 to 12 gallons. So we're going to put the wheels under this so we can move it.
And then put the rest of those 5 bottles
And then
in.
put the rest of these bottles in there. And if my quick mental math serves, we should end up with about 8 to 9 gallons of mash.
It smells good.
Or wash. So it does smell really good.
And then you're going to pitch the yeast after.
Yes. And we have my normal K1 V1116, which is what I usually use with brandies. I normally mix it with Little Daddy, but this time I'm going to do with the EC 1118, because this stuff will ferment just about anything. So between the two of them, we should definitely make some alcohol out of that.
If not, we'll throw some Daddy in tomorrow.
Right. Oh, I forgot to mention this stuff. We did the specific gravity on it, the Shine Muscat juice, and it came out at 0.04, which is a little low for doing. So that was why we did the inverted sugar. Seat of the pants math, that should get us up to about 0.55, 0.6. Lower end of the scale for our normal thing, but we weren't trying to put too much sugar into it. We wanted grape to come through, not sugar.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's the end of this bit of the interesting part. We're going to pour stuff in. I'm going to bloom this yeast and pitch it in there. And
next time we see you...
Next time we see you, we should be running.
We'll be running. Yeah.
Right. All right. Shine Muscat. It's been going for a little more than a week, I think. And we are done, I think. I tested the gravity of the wash there, and it was just over 0.99, so it should be pretty dry. And most of the fruit is dropped. So I am going to use the good old auto siphon here and get most of the wash into this 5-gallon jar I've got so that we can let it sit for a week or two and age in its own juice before we distill it. Yay! All right, so we got our first jar full up to the lip there. I don't like to fill them too much up, and that's a 5-gallon jar. That would be hellaciously heavy to lift if it was all the way full. So we still got a bit left in there. So I got a 3-gallon jar. We are going to get the rest of these Shine Muscats out, and we're going to run them through the little fruit press and get the rest of the juice out of it. All right, everybody, it's strip and run time for the Great Muscat. So if you can see here, I got just shy of 20 liters or 5 gallons of wash in there, and that is heating up on the digiboil. And I got my brand new straight from China voltage regulator here, so hopefully that doesn't burn my house down. But that should allow me, once this gets up to cooking temperature, to turn the wattage down so that my 1900 watt element can run at about 1000 or 800, which will keep me a good steady stream running, but will run better than letting the 500 run at full tilt. Because unfortunately, these universal plugs we have to use to make these oddball connectors work with the Korean power aren't rated for more than 2000 watts, so I can't run the whole thing at full power. We figured that one out already. We blew one of those up. But you might can hear it. It's starting to hiss a little bit down there. I got to make sure it doesn't... Where's my spoon? Got to keep stirring it, make sure I didn't get any yeast in there that would burn on the bottom. Got to keep it stirred until it gets up to a good temperature. And I have what's left of the dregs out of the pot that's got a lot of the yeast in it. So since we're doing the stripping run for the low wines, I'm going to let this sit, let the stuff settle back down to the bottom, and then I'll siphon the rest of that out into a smaller jar to go in the thump keg when we run it for the flavor run. All right, stripping run is done on the Shine Muscat Shine.
We got about 3.8 liters at 95 proof.
So
next plans, Chuck, are what?
Next plans are we have some frozen Shine Muscat grapes for the thump keg. We probably have a few too many when I was looking at them, so we're probably going to throw some of those in here.
We'll mash them a little bit.
Muddle them a little bit, throw them in there. And we've got a couple jars of our Shine Muscat juice left. So we'll probably top this jar off with grapes and juice. Let them sit, let them infuse for, I'm going to guesstimate, probably about 2 weeks, maybe 3, depends on when we get back around to it. And then we'll run the flavor run on it.
One thing I'm going to note here is the nose on this is very grape.
It's like, very grape.
Even from the wash was grape. Like running it, you could smell grape in here. So,
I mean, even as it is, even though it's low wines right now, you can dip a finger in it and lick it, and it tastes like grape. I mean, right now it tastes kind of like watery grape, but it's got grape in it. So,
which is good. That's good news.
So I mean, hopefully that means when we do the second distillation, that grape note in it will come through stronger, especially with all the grape stuff we're going to put in the thump keg to go with it.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. So. And
then I think we decided, because I was talking to my friend today who enjoyed some of our blueberry brandy that we did, that we French oaked.
See this video, that was an adventure.
Yeah, that was an adventure. And the French oak, we know better now than to use more, so we use less of it. But we will now put a little bit of, I think when this is done, we're going to French oak it. Maybe
do a little French oak, do a little medium char nub in there with it. And we're kind of going to aim for cognac territory.
Which we have cognac, so we'll taste it against the cognac and see.
And see if we got close
Are we close?
Anyway, we will be back when we do the flavor run.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, by the way, we did the stripping run on the Digiboil, in case we didn't mention that.
Yes, we did the stripping run on the Digiboil. We will do the flavor run on the Vivor kit with the
Philbilly
copper
Moonshine.
thump keg. Yeah, the copper thump keg we got from Philbilly Moonshine.
Because we just love our copper thump keg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Philbilly there. You the man.
Right. Shine Muscat. We have.
I'm working with Yoda today, y'all. The Shine Muscat we have. Brandy it is.
I meant to say, we have gotten the Muscat to a state in which we are ready to taste test.
Yes.
So it has obviously been distilled. It has been aged with a little bit of French oak and a nub of charred white oak.
A nice little pretty color.
Little color and a little barrel flavor going on. A little bit.
Our current, this here we got it as at 120. And
Yeah.
so what we were testing was earlier Hennessy cognac, which is technically a grape brandy that's been aged in oak in France. Is that accurate?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. It is 80,
In the Cognac region of France.
it is 80 proof, which means in order to see how we taste against that, we need to put ours down to about 80 proof. So Chuck is going to give us a little mix and bring us down to 80 so we can test. But right off the bat, when you take the lid off of this, or when you're just put the cup up to your nose, we do have a very, very strong Shine Muscat flavor. And again, for those who may have forgotten, Shine Muscat is similar to like a muscadine in the States.
All right, so a little bit of rough South Kakalaki math. We should be vaguely in the same range here.
We should be close.
Probably, within 5 or so proof, we think.
Well, with the exception of this has been aged for a much longer time.
Well, yeah, obviously. Supposedly they're using French grapes in France with French barrels. And
yeah. So our attempt is, we've got Korean grapes in our aging, but
Now, right off the bat, the nose, if you've ever smelled like fresh muscadines, that's...
Oh my gosh, it smells like I opened up a bottle of the Shine Muscat juice. Like literally,
Yeah,
it smells just like it. It's so fragrant.
It almost smells like a white grape jelly. Okay, at that particular proofing,
The oak hits you first,
The oak comes through strong first,
and then your grape.
then you get the sweet muscat,
But it's smooth.
sweet muscat on the back. Yeah.
It's not very burny.
Obviously there's a little bit. It's a brandy.
When we tested this earlier, we did it 1-to-1, which made it 60 proof.
And on that one, you got a lot more of the grape
More
flavor.
grape. So we're going to let this sit probably another couple months. So this one's not going anywhere anytime soon either. But I'd like to give it a couple months to just sit and see how the flavor develops. At that point, we'll make a decision whether we're going to bring it down to 60 or are we going to take it to 80 or what are we going to do?
Right. But for the comparison, we're going to do a little taste testy against the name brand. Right, okay. Now on that one, obviously because it was casked longer, it's got a lot stronger
That very first
wood note to it.
Yeah, the wood is the first thing you taste in that. It's not bad. I also get a little bit of vanilla.
And that's also a common note that people get from wood when it's been casked for a while.
Yeah, so I'm getting a little bit of vanilla. I'm getting the wood. I'm not getting any grape at all.
And, even as I've been waiting the whole...
Maybe in a cognac, you're not supposed to get the grape. Maybe, I don't know. For me, I feel like if I'm making a grape brandy...
I should taste some grape in it.
Taste the grape. It's like making a peach brandy and you don't taste any peaches.
So, I don't know that this is supposedly an apples-to-apples comparison. Technically a grape-to-grape comparison.
It's as close as we can get to comparing it with anything, probably. That's not saying this is bad. This is just my flavor profile wants to taste the fruit of whatever brandy I'm tasting. Processing-wise, we may have also processed very differently than they processed. We just decided to grab a small bottle of this to see if we were in the range. And
this is the closest thing we know to what we were aiming for. Yeah, in this, I taste no grape. All I get is wood and alcohol. This, I still get a little bit of the wood taste, but I also get that grape muscat flavor, and I like that better.
Neither of us are cognac connoisseurs, we can't say for sure whether or not that's a good or a bad thing, because we don't know. Is cognac supposed to have a strong grape flavor or no? I don't know.
I'm still with the school of if it's made from grapes, it should taste like grapes.
Take all of this commentary here with a grain of salt because we are not judging them. Hennessy is a very popular, obviously, cognac. It's a great, people buy it all the time. So
obviously people like cognac because there's a lot of,
but if nothing
else for cooking, because there's a lot of recipes that do like flambés and stuff that say to use a cognac.
But for our purposes, because we are primarily brandy makers, we're going to stick with we take brandy over cognac any day. Yep. But that's a personal preference.
I don't know who you're trying to apologize to. We made a kick-ass grape brandy here.
It's not an apology. It's just a disclaimer saying we're not insulting another brand because I cannot insult them.
Disclaimer, I like mine better. They're professional.
They ain't hurting for any money.
I like mine.
So it's going to sit on the shelf for a couple months.
I know a lot of people say, oh, it's got to age for years. I ain't got time for that.
So nobody gets to taste this again until April.
Anyway, that's it for this one. Like, subscribe, do the internet stuff. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Call it a midlife situation, a moonshine.